Welcome to satsang. Is it working? If this is your first time in satsang with me, would you just let me know by raising your hand so I can get a sense of... If I have to start all over at the beginning again. But that's what I do every time anyway, because all I have to say can be said in about 3 sentences. I just play with those sentences. 1, you are free, completely, absolutely. 2, the only reason you think you are not free is that you believe your thoughts. 3, it is possible to recognize you are free by simply being still and noticing what is present before any thought, after all thoughts are finished, and also during any thought. And realize you are that. That's it. Honestly. If I were a better teacher, I would say it in 1 word. If I were the best teacher, I'd never even have to open my mouth. But we get each other, so... So here I am talking, and here you are asking a question. Good. We'll pass you the microphone.
Thank you for coming.
Oh, I'm happy to be here.
I've had the privilege of listening to some of the tapes of your satsangs, and I've had exposure to what you have done with others coming to the microphone.
Yes.
Well, I'm curious.
Yes.
I have spent many years meditating, and lots of time just being very quiet in myself and recognizing the silence. I have had some very clear experiences of identification with just pure awareness, but in my desire to have that for all time, what I see or experience is that when I just be quiet and see who is there, and I just feel that silence that you talk about, I don't experience that as the same as the complete identification with the self-awareness.
Well, you know, your problem is when you make the statement, I desire to have that for all time. Because already now you have in your mind, when you make that statement, when you think that, when you feel that, you have an idea of what that is, and that's what you want for all time. You see, you have objectified an experience, beautiful experience, true experience, has then become objectified as something, and you're holding it in your mind, and then when true experience reveals itself in different face, you're comparing. You're saying, oh, well, nice, yes, but what I want is that for all time. So you have there now made yourself separate from that, and you want that, and that is an object, and that is all a lie. You are never separate from that because you are that, and it cannot be objectified. All of the objectification, all of the comparison of states, all of the desires for something that is not present, this is all because you have somehow followed at least one thought, as if it were reality.
I experience a difference between the identification with pure awareness and just a quiet state of mind.
Okay, that's good. But in the identification with pure awareness and in just a quiet mind and in a busy mind, what is the same? That's what I'm most interested in, because that's what does not come and go. Mind comes and goes, whether it is quiet or noisy or identified as pure awareness. It comes and goes. What does not come and go in all of that?
Well, my awareness.
Okay, well, my awareness. Now, if you simply drop the my, the ownership, because then it's not my awareness. You understand? Well, awareness, because the my also comes and goes, doesn't it? Right. And you like it when it goes. And then when it comes back, you say, I want it to go. I want it to be like it was when there was no my. There's just awareness recognizing itself as that.
My experience is not always of awareness recognizing itself as that.
Yes, I understand that. Experiences come and go. What does not come and go?
Well, awareness.
Yes, awareness. So if you want your true self, you want what does not come and go. If you want some good feeling, some exalted feeling, some samadhi, some experience of identification, purest experience of identification, then you are suffering. If you want what does not come and go, then you are happy beyond, deeper than a happiness of samadhi. A true samadhi, the samadhi of recognizing whatever experience appears, disappears, and no matter. It is very important to have a certain quality of experience. It is crucial. But you've had that, you've spoken of that, and you've had it many times. What keeps you now in a subtle God realm of suffering is wanting a particular level of experience because it feels so good. It does. It feels incredible. And the bliss, the joy, the clarity, the wisdom. But it's a temptation of the gods. It's very important for those who have lived in a hell realm and those who have lived in a purgatory or a bardo. It is crucial to have this experience. Otherwise, the whole talk is just abstract. So you must experience the opposite polarity of hell. You must experience heaven. Or heaven, but it's just some trance, some object, some idea. But you have experienced that. So you say, and I accept it as true. And then you liked it so much, you wanted it again, rather than wanting what both heaven and hell appear in. You see what a slight step over the cliff is. You see, do you see how this is called spiritual materialism? Very sweet. This is called the temptation of the gods. You know you have succumbed to the temptation of the devils many times. So you're finished with that. You put that behind you. Very good, excellent, wonderful. Yes, important. Now the sweetness of the gods. Very good, let the sweetness in. There's nothing wrong with the sweetness. But once you begin to cling for it and you say, I want that all the time. What's the difference in like a 2-year-old saying, I want to walk through that wall all the time? Really, no significant difference, really. This is the remnant of an infantile desire state. even in the face of your sublime experience. This arises, this ancient conditioning.
Well, that raises a couple of questions.
Okay.
One is the memory of the kind of experiences I've had of just being in that sublime state. They're not something I can erase.
Oh, don't erase them. They're beautiful.
And so my desire is essentially a sort of, is kind of like the memory.
No. Your desire is the opportunity to burn. Yes, this memory, this incredible memory, it's like a shrine. Isn't it? It's a sacred memory. It's not an ordinary memory.
Well, it's not. It's sacred in a way, and it's also ordinary in a way, because in that experience, it's just everything is so simple and ordinary.
Yes, but it's so simple and ordinary. Who can say that? Only from the most sacred point of view can you say that. It's all so perfect. It's all so clear. This is a tremendous experience. But the moment that experience passes and you begin to desire the experience to come back, this is the opportunity to burn.
Burn what?
Burn up your tendency to follow your mind toward objectification and grasping that object, or rejecting another object, which is other awareness. You understand?
Yes.
It's getting close, I see.
So is there any sadhana? Is there any practice? Is there any way?
Yes, that's it. There you go. Burning is always a sadhana, isn't it? Vigilance is a sadhana.
Is that not a thought?
But it's not an effort, because the kind of true burning has to be 24 hours. The true sadhana is your life, moment by moment. You don't pick up your sadhana and put it down. True sadhana, not what gets called sadhana, which is some kind of tapas or austerities or self-flagellation or changing something. This burning, so subtle, so intense, this letting go, this willingness to simply be, really be ordinary. As you said, then this ordinariness is sacred. I wouldn't speak like this to everyone. It is very important to have certain experiences. It's very important to put yourself in a place where certain experiences will arise. They're shock points. They shake you and shock you. They play their role. But if you begin circling again, as you circled, in many, many different ways, many levels, many times of your life, if you begin doing that with spiritual experiences, you will suffer just like you have suffered. A 2-year-old suffers, a 16-year-old suffers, a 35-year-old suffers in reaching for something and rejecting something else. Isn't it true? When you are desiring that state, as enlightened as you are in that state, the moment you begin desiring it, you're in hell again. And you say, I lost my enlightenment. Well, I'm telling you where to find it. Right where you left it. It hasn't moved. And that's the vigilance. That's the benefit of these desire bodies, these bodies that are propelled through the momentum of vasanas and habits. That's the benefit. They're a big fire, a bonfire. Genetic tendencies, social tendencies, spiritual tendencies. A big bonfire. No, you don't erase the memory. No need to erase it. You don't kill the ego. No need to kill it. Let it all burn in this willingness to not follow the mind toward acquisition, to not follow the mind toward rejection. That's called satsang. The willingness to be in satsang, to find out who needs it to be different from how it is now. That's called self-inquiry. Who needs it to change? Who cares if you are not experiencing what you want to experience?
So what is the difference between an Archie Bunker who doesn't even know or desire, or somebody who has been on the path and has finally, after so much struggling, decides to give up struggling and lets go?
What if I said nothing? None whatsoever.
So it's as if to say then...
Not usable. What if enlightenment, awakening is not usable?
But that's as if to say that there is no path.
That's right. That's right. That's right. There are images of paths, there are experiences of paths, there are practices that are paths, but in reality there is no path. There is no seeker. There is nothing sought, nothing won, nothing gained. That's peace. Peace with no need of peace. To be peace.
And those who say that the path is through desire, such as Yogananda?
Well, I don't know. I can't, it's very tricky when people start quoting what somebody says. I say they're playing with your mind. That's legitimate. Your mind has to be played with so that it can start to unravel. But, you start quoting gurus, and gurus will say anything. They have to. They have to. If you think you know what the guru is going to say, it's got to pull that out from under you. It. I'm not saying he, she. I'm saying it. The guru, it pulls it out from under you. I just said I wouldn't say this to anybody else but you. I had someone come to satsang once and they said, I'm just so frustrated, I've been here 5 nights and there is absolutely no consistency to what you say. I've tried bringing it together and putting it in a form. I was so thrilled to hear that. So thrilled. Once Papaji said, the truest teaching is like a bird that flies across the sky. It leaves no tracks whatsoever.
Okay.
Okay.
What?
It's good. Your questions are good. You can see it. Okay, keep going. They didn't cut you off, or they'll turn you back on.
Okay. In the various experiences I've had, I guess on both sides of the fence of memory or awareness, it seems to me that in the state of identification, or whatever you would call that, awakening,
Correct identification and true identification.
Yeah, true identification. Okay. It's very clear that there's no path, nowhere to go, and everything that you're saying. When I'm not in that place, it's clear that there appears to be a path, and there needs to be a way.
That's right.
And so you appear to be speaking from the space of pure awareness, true.
Of awareness. The clarity of the pure awareness.
Yes.
Yes.
And
that's what I want you to do.
Yes.
Because you have had this experience. There comes a certain point where you realize through an experience where you realize this is the truth. This is actually the truth. Beyond I'm realizing it's the truth, it's the truth. Then it doesn't matter what the experience is, you have realized the truth. So you can have experience of path, experience of not so ecstatic. Doesn't matter, because the truth is alive in you as you. You can have experience of body aches, you can have experience of moods passing through. Doesn't matter.
When I'm not in the state of pure identification,
Okay.
whatever you would call it, I experience that realization as a memory.
Yes, and you want to get back to it. Right?
What
That's what
else?
you started by saying.
Even if I burn the desire to get back to it.
Don't burn anything, because at this point, if you do anything, it has some strategy behind it, right? So the gift of self-inquiry is to ask yourself, who desires to get back? That's a gift, Ramana's gift to you. That plays with the mind. It stops the mind. And the moment the mind is stopped, there's a realization of what doesn't need mind for truth. Doesn't need mind for confirmation. All the rest has been mind activity. I remember this perfect state. I want to get back to this perfect state. I remember that there's no path, but I feel like now there's a path. This is all mind activity, isn't it? So this gift of self-inquiry is to ask yourself, who wants to get back? Ask yourself now and tell me what the result is.
Well, nobody.
And what's the experience out of that?
Well, it's just my ordinary experience of just being, I just close my eyes and shut off my mind.
Yes.
I just experience emptiness. Just an awake emptiness.
So this is a great power you have, to close your eyes and shut off your mind. It's an enormous power. Of course, the power of mind activity is also enormous, but this is the other side of that. Now, letting your mind be activated again, not doing anything to get anything. Where has awareness, has peace gone anywhere?
It doesn't exactly go anywhere, but when I sleep, yes.
When you sleep, it goes? Is that what you said?
Yes.
How do you know?
Because I'm not awake in my sleep to know that I am there.
When you wake up in the morning, do you know if you've dreamt, or do you know if you've had periods of no dreams?
I know when I've dreamt.
And to know when you dream, you have to also know when you don't dream. You know very well when you wake up and you say, I slept solidly, purely. You don't have objects of awareness in there, because it's objectless awareness. Right?
I guess I'm still comparing because I've had the experience of pure witnessing in sleep.
So stop all your comparing.
Yeah.
I'll give you this button. This button somebody gave says, buck up. You understand that? It's like,
yes.
Come on now, you've had enough experiences. It's like, it's like not the 2-year-old, it's the 14-year-old sort of pulling on its mother's shirt or dress. Oh, give me some, give me some. You stop. Out of the house, go to work. Really. Really. You have a role to play. You have done your homework. You stop sending it in for grading again. You stop. Just stop. Let this true and deep experience that you are speaking of, let it have you. Stop trying to have it. Then you will see that realization is quite natural, then you will see that vigilance is quite delightful. Self-inquiry is effortless.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Very good questions. Very good. Okay.
Gangaji, I would like to make a report and I'd like to ask a question.
Okay.
I know how dangerous it is to talk to you.
Well, thank you.
Even when you're not in the room.
Yeah, that's where the danger begins and ends, right?
Last October, I asked you a question, and I entered a sea of violence in the room, and I felt later, I mean, I had no words to tell you that I had no words. And I couldn't understand a thing that you said.
Well, that should make some people feel better.
And happened, coinciding with that was a lifetime relationship with my mother completely shifted. It had been very small and constrained, and she had lost her mind, and I had no hope of ever having a real heart relationship with her. I never had hope of having union with her. And I got that. I have that. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear it. So this is the result. It's not the use. That's the result.
The question comes out of something that happened to me Sunday night. I volunteered to cook for the volunteers here. And what happened is the food didn't get cooked, but I'm getting cooked. I mean, I cooked the food. But on Sunday night, I found myself exhausted and faced with cooking for 25 people, and I hadn't done that before. So I summoned you into my kitchen. And what I saw was Queen for a Day. I remembered the old TV program where women got rewarded for suffering. They would tell a terrible story.
Yeah, that's right. I remember.
They would win a tiara and a fur coat and a gas range if they had the worst story of all. And I saw that. I suddenly saw myself. I saw that I have the habit of mental suffering. Although,
good to see that.
And I tried to tell a friend, and he said, "Oh no, you're the most upbeat person." So I fooled him. You know, I think. And the next morning, yesterday, I came here, and you were talking about suffering. I could barely hear you, but you did say one thing that kept in my mind, and it was you said that suffering is a departure from the truth. I could barely stand to hear that, and I left here burning. I've been angry. I have been despairing. And now I want to know, how do I give up the habit of mental suffering?
You're in the... Yes, it's very, very clear the way you lay it out. First, there is this anger, usually the defense, of your suffering, of your investment. Someone tells you you're being cheated by this investment that you keep pouring into suffering, and you are angry. How can that be so? You've been taught this. You've been promised if you suffer, you will at least get to be queen for a day. Or you'll go to heaven. Or people will take care of you because you're suffering, whatever the mindset. Or you will help other people because you're suffering. You're in solidarity with the suffering of the world because you are suffering. No. No. It's possible to be in solidarity with the truth, with the joy that is present in any state, in any body, in any condition, in any world. So, of course, then you see this anger is pretty shallow. That deeper than that is the despair you speak of. Because if what I'm saying is true, my God, your whole life has been a waste. I mean, of course, there have been some moments, but... But the investment has been a waste. The story has been a waste. If you are willing to really, deeply, truly experience that despair, to burn up in that despair, then exquisitely, then your story is not a waste. Then your story is a beacon to all humanity who suffers, however mundanely or however profoundly. Then your life is an opening. Then you are free. Free of your investment. Free of checking your investment, weighing your investment. You are free. And you are free to realize you are. This is the opportunity of this human birth. Cow is that also. A cockroach is that so. A mountain is that also. So in a human incarnation, the mind is developed enough that there can be self-reflection. This is great joy. But because of the pull of all of the lower life forms within this human body, there is usually some overlooking of that and attention put toward suffering. Usually, normally, that's so. It needn't be so. Certainly it needn't be so for you in this room, and for those who come into contact with you in this room, because you have an opportunity to stop your personal story of suffering. And in that stopping, everyone who comes into contact with you will have that opportunity. There are so many stories of suffering. So many. And you know how flimsy your story is in the face of so many other stories of suffering. I mean, this planet is racked with suffering. But here you are, by some grace, some mystery, in the position to let go your story of suffering, your involvement in suffering. So when I say welcome to satsang, that's what I'm welcoming you. That you could not be in the room otherwise. Whoever forced you to come could not have forced you to come otherwise. You can believe me or not. You have at least heard it. You can hear it from me and go all the way. Or you will hear it from 2 or 3 other people down the line and go all the way. Who can say? Doesn't matter. But it is your opportunity in this lifetime, because somehow through this story of suffering there was a push or a call or a command to something greater, to something deeper. Not knowing what or having some idea what, irrelevant. This call is very big, and it is through this call that satsang has appeared in your consciousness. It's through the internal satsang that has been growing in your individual consciousness that this formal satsang appears, that this person appears saying to you, you are free. Whatever story may be, you are free. Be free. Be who you are. Then your story is a beautiful story. Then suffering was worth something. Then compassion is natural. Then you will see suffering and you will see through it. And this is a great gift. This is a natural siddhi. It comes to you naturally if you are willing to directly experience this despair.
Thank you.
I thank you. I thank you. I'm so happy to hear that about your mother and you. How wonderful. I remember speaking to you. Okay. I know I said I wouldn't do this side of the room, but my neck's getting tired.
This is my first exposure to you, so I don't fear you.
Oh, good. Now we are innocent, you see, in our meeting.
Yeah, the only thing I know of you, excuse me, is I've read a couple of the newsletters, and I was discussing them with somebody yesterday, and she was saying that the detachment is sort of an escape, you know, and I was talking about your use of the term, the storyline, and she was saying it's not just a story, you know, you need to have psychology, you need to have therapy to work through these things. They're not just storylines, they're emotions that need to be worked through, they're
That's
issues.
what you should be afraid of, that kind of talk.
I'll just let you do that.
There's nothing wrong with therapy, but in this moment, you realize you are detached from your story of suffering. That's not dissociated, but it no longer is pulling you into the realm of false identification. It may appear, but it appears as display, as phenomena, as light and sound. Okay, that's the truth. Then, if there are tendencies that arise, and if therapy supports the release of those tendencies, that's wonderful. No problem. But to say that you need it, this is a lie. The truth is, you don't need anything to discover who you are, because you are already that. If it were something you were going to become or get, yes, you need any number of things, as you know from your life experience. But if you can stop for one moment and discover who you are, ask yourself the question, who am I? And anytime any object appears, such as an image of this body, just ask yourself, who is seeing that? Who is aware of that?
Can I ask one follow-up?
But first you have to do that and then ask me, okay? Oh, what's that?
It's my brain turning off.
Yes, that's right. There are some weird things that happen. You know, his eyes started rolling around. Right.
I don't know.
Then I'll tell you what I saw. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. You can tell me. But there was this moment of something opened, something very big. And then there was a mental scrambling to close it back like it was. Right? Yes. Okay, that's usual. But you see how easy, how instantaneously the opening is. The scrambling is the habit, the fear, whatever.
So is it sort of a constant getting in touch with that little moment that...
No, because that
it?
little moment's long gone now, dissolved, never was, finished. But right now, who are you? You see, there's a moment, if you can really ask this question in whatever form, not as asking it to get something, but really asking it of curiosity or out of some deep pull to know, who am I? I mean, this woman is telling me, you know, my thoughts of who I am are not reliable. My experiences of who I am are not reliable. So who am I? Really, who am I? What never changes? You cannot find any object that never changes. But you can find that which you are, which is this pure awareness, which never changes. All the changes come in that. And for a moment, you tasted it. Now you relax. You relax. You let go of the boundaries of that moment. There's a very good sign that you could so easily, innocently investigate, who am I? Not as some spiritual exercise, just two people, not afraid of each other, speaking.
Thanks.
You're very welcome. Okay. Don't pass your microphone.
I have so many things in my house, and I spent a couple of months in India and was so good being without them. It felt so different. And I came back thinking I could let go of a lot of the things in my house, and I don't find that's true. And I wonder how to do that, how to let go. If I can't let go of my things, how will I ever let go of my mind?
Your focus is in the wrong direction. Doesn't matter whether those things come or go. They'll go eventually. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you see, you know that.
Yeah,
And you are
yeah.
free to instantly by remembering that. But this house of thoughts, this is all you have to let go of. This moment, let go of all of that. That takes no work. You see how much work it is to maintain all this thought activity. You just take a break. Take a breath. Relax. Stop trying to get somewhere or escape from somewhere. Stop trying to change something so that it'll be like it was then.
Yeah.
Yes, you see?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the subtlety of the mind. Oh, it was such a great feeling being without my things. Now be without my things. No, I don't want to be without my things. Well, not that thing, but this thing. This is just some excuse making. Just be still. Just be still. It doesn't matter. Then you can see the beauty in things. Then you aren't bound by the beauty in things or the horror in things. It's your internal renunciation, internal death of story. This is what's required. The external will die on its own when it does. Your body, your house, your planet, solar system. But in this moment, internally die to your story. Just by stopping perpetuating it. Doesn't mean you go into some, trance, some stupor. You relax. You see how easy?
Mm-hmm.
Really easy. That's what makes it a secret and what makes it so difficult. Everybody's always looking for something to do.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
that's right.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And
It's
they're
one more thing
looking
to
for
do.
something to do that will release them from doing. Isn't that what we were speaking of? Yes.
Yeah. Looking for something to do to release me from doing.
That's
Mm-hmm.
right.
Mm-hmm.
What a joke. You see how slow we all are. Yes, well, that's the power of the conditioning. Because we are trained as organisms, as survival organisms, to do more. And in the West, we have perfected this city. To do bigger, grander. Nothing with that until you turn that doing toward finding who you are. Then it is absolutely useless. That's the only obstruction.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay.
What about the story that's my excuse, I'd like as much damage done to it as possible, of you have to be special to do this.
You
that-
are special.
Well,
You are consciousness itself. What could be more special than that? That is pure specialness. Your body, not so special. Your thoughts, not so special. They're a dime a dozen. We could find, 3/4 of the room has had every thought you've ever had. And more.
Yeah. Sure.
But who you are, this is special. This is what all desire for specialness is looking for. So, find out who's looking, and you will find special.
I think I got stuck when I read Ramana's book where he says only the very few can look special.
Only one. Only one. And you are that. You are the only one. Now. And Ramana told me to say that to you. Forget what he said. He never said it so that you would use it to block the realization of yourself. Ever. It is very easy to misquote gurus or to quote gurus out of context. So you know what would help? You just take your head and turn it right like this. If you like this, if you catch yourself in this body posture, you know you're telling yourself some very sentimental story, right? You're just like, oh, where is it? It just comes out the other side, doesn't it?
It's true.
Yeah, you see? You see, it can't be maintained this strongly. So I'm speaking of discovering these internal postures, these internal, whatever it may be. Discovering that and being still. Stop posturing. Stop faking who you are. Stop imitating who you are. And be who you are. It's much easier. Much more expansive. Much more unimaginable. Much more. And it is special. Very special. It is the only thing that is special. You see, just in the willingness to stop the investment, isn't it amazing how you could go through a saint's book and pick out something that would fit in with your play of worthlessness? You see that and see how ordinary that is. How typical that is, and put it aside. And then what is not ordinary, what is not typical, is this realization of what encompasses ordinary and extraordinary. And this is your opportunity. You may have other opportunities who can say, I know you have certainly had other opportunities. But here it is again. Relax. Forget what anybody has said. Then you will know what they've all been pointing to in their saying. You will know it directly. Then you have a conversation with Ramana. You say, I don't like that part of your book. And he'll say, well, you're probably right. You will not be afraid. You will not be like a little child holding on to its mother's leg. You will meet unafraid and speak unafraid. Naturally, not because you have conquered fear. And just because fear doesn't matter. You understand? Not because you become big and strong, just because you are who you are, and that is special. Already special. You recognize that, you will see it in every form, everywhere. You will be in solidarity with that everywhere. You will be a confirmation of that everywhere. Okay.
Hi, this is just a report from last time. You kept holding up the stop sign for me.
Oh, okay.
And after wallowing my angst for a while, I stopped.
Lucky.
And in the stopping, it allowed my being to ebb and flow. And I sort of got out of my own way. And it's really changed my life. And I really honor you for that.
Thank you.
And that's all I really want to say.
That's saying quite a lot, isn't it? Quite a lot. Yes, getting out of your way. Okay.
Thank you. I saw you last in the physical at the Unity Church, I think it was here. And it was the first time I had experienced anything to do with any of this sort of anything.
First time, that's good. That's a secret.
Other than reading a lot of books from a lot of different viewpoints. And at the time, they made that offering that you could come and see you if you traveled a distance, which I did and I have again. And I just want to say, last time I could not even look in your eyes when you know how you look directly into the person's eyes and
But
see
now it's
everything?
different, huh?
It's so different, and I just wanted to just reconfirm and just, if I could sit here and shake my head up and down a lot with everything you've been saying and let everybody know it's right, and you don't even have to do much about it, because it wasn't like I forgot. I just went away because I felt so ashamed that I couldn't look at you, and now I'm just like, hey, it doesn't matter. It's just this is how it is, and happy to be here. Thank you.
Happy to be here. Very good report. Very good report. Very lucky you aren't encumbered with all kinds of ideas of what should be going on, what it should look like, what you should be feeling. Then the mind is open. The mind is open. It is not separate in imagination from pure open consciousness, open awareness. Okay.
It's so interesting hearing all this coming out, because I've been coming to the satsang every day, and I asked a question of you on Saturday, and it was kind of like I heard you, but I had to like rehear you, and I got the tape and I listened to it and I listened to it and I listened to it, and I got into a really great space of just being quiet and still, like you said. And you also talked about being naked and, in front of the guru, whatever. And I did that, and it was so freeing. It was like there was nothing to hide. There was, it was like total openness. And I thought about what you said, because I had a question, and you said, no, your question is really this.
I said that?
Yeah. And
it's on tape, huh?
It's on tape.
Shocking.
And you said to trust myself. And
oh, you were asking me about
children?
Uh-huh. Okay, good.
And I thought about that, and I went through this whole series of things. Like first there was anger, then there was this feeling of invalidation, then there was this feeling of, oh well, maybe there's something to it, and then there's, and I realized that you said there are no questions, and I realized that was right. There aren't questions, because everything that I experience, everything that's a part of my life, everything that is a part of who I am, is real, and it's real to me, and it's my truth. And for me to ask a question is, for myself, seeking validation outside of myself. And there was no question because everything was right here. And all I had to do was just go here for whatever my truth was, and that was okay. And whatever my truth was, even if it was totally different than everyone else's truth, because you were saying about opinions, you know, it doesn't matter what other people's opinions are.
That's a good beginning. Now, you ready for the next one?
Sock it to me.
What if I say that none of it is real? And your opinion is worthless and doesn't mean anything. And not reliable because it could change next week. Then it is possible to discover what is deeper than your opinion. What is deeper than everything you have experienced in your life. I'm very happy you got to this point. It's very good. It's, you know, it's the jumping off point. It's, again, a movement from hell or from worthlessness to, okay, hey, I got my say. But now deeper than that. Forget all your opinions. What I was really saying to you when we spoke was to listen. When you asked me about how to be with children, I said, listen, open your mind. When the mind is open, there are no opinions. There's no memory. There's simply presence.
I guess my problem then is with a definition of what you mean by open.
By open, I mean thoughts are not being followed and then built upon. There's a reflective quality to mind. You know, when you are by a lake or something and it's very still, it reflects. But when it starts getting agitated, the reflection is distorted. So when the mind is open, it's just very still. You don't make it still, but the mind comes to stillness. It likes to come to stillness. It's restful. It's peaceful. It's in fact where the potential gets potentized. The mind can be very clear, very sharp after a good rest. So you have shown some strength of mind. That's good. That's important because it actually takes a strong mind to rest. You have pulled the experience of fragmentation of mind into some kind of coherent mind where you can take a stand. That's good, very important. Now let it all go.
So is there something that I do to get to that place?
Right now, let it all go. You brought it all together? Excellent. Seemed like it was in a million different pieces. You brought it together. Excellent. Now you have it. Let it go. Don't know anything. Don't know a thing.
Sometimes I'm in that place of really feeling there's nothing to do, nowhere to go, no one to be. I'm not sure, but I think that's what you're saying to me.
Close enough. Close enough. And when your mind is at rest and a question arises, what's the result?
Well, I guess it depends which questions come up in my mind. Sometimes a question come up and there's joy. Sometimes a question will come up and there's pain.
Great. You're answering very well. So when a question comes up and there's joy, there's then a tendency to keep that joy, let it go. If a question comes up and there's pain, and there's then the mental tendency to get away from that pain, stop. Let that tendency go. Then you will see the answer is always present. questions definitely arise. The answer is always present. Open your mind. Definitely the final answer is always present. I don't know about, decision answers, but I'm speaking of the real answer. What you're really looking for as you're trying to get certain questions answered. I'm very happy with you. I don't mind if you get mad at me again. It's okay.
I wasn't mad at you. I
understand.
I realized that whatever you were saying was meant to be said, and I had to hear it. And that's why I got the tape and listened to it again and
Yes,
again.
very good. It's a very good sign that you're willing to not just, stay in some state and then justify that. You actually are interested in depth of being, depth of realization. That's an investigative quality of mind that's very strong and very powerful. You turn that investigative quality back on the investigator, and you will directly experience the answer. Good, you keep me posted, okay?
Okay.
Okay, that's enough tonight. Om Shanti.